What is up, webheads? Welcome back to another very exciting Marvel Spider-Man 2 and 3 related video. Marvel Spider-Man 2 further showcased some of the most iconic villains in Spidey's Rogues Gallery, and certainly gave us a bunch of nods and teases for what's to come in the final chapter of a Marvel Spider-Man 3. The third installment of the Marvel Spider-Man franchise is most likely going to be chock full of villains from the rest of Spidey's Rogues Gallery that is still alive and that is not turned away from crime. In this video though, I'm not going to be covering every single one. I am going to be covering the main 4 that were certainly set up to appear in future Marvel Spider-Man projects. And that'll most likely be the main 4 antagonists that we'll get in the next game. So the first one I want to talk about is probably the most obvious, and that is the Green Goblin. After completing the main story of Marvel Spider-Man 2, we see that Harry Osborn is in a coma, the symbiote has been destroyed, and Norman Osborn has been working on another cure to cure his son from his disease. And while Harry's lying in his hospital bed, Norman Osborn makes a call saying to get the G serum ready. And if you're anything of a Spider-Man fan, you know exactly what that means. The G serum means it's the Goblin serum. We don't officially know who's going to become the Green Goblin in the next game. I think it's a safe choice to say that it's going to be Norman, but that's not to say that the possibility of Harry having another go around as one of Spidey's biggest villains is out the window. It certainly could happen. Although with Harry in a very delicate state right now, I can definitely see Norman trying to use the G serum on himself to test it, and that'll just further send him down the downward spiral, and he'll ultimately get the alter ego of the Goblin. Goblin is one of, if not the most important and iconic Spider-Man villains, and I think it's safe to say that he's going to be the main big bad for the final of this trilogy. The next major villain that was teased was, of course, in the post-credit scene, where we saw Norman Osborn once again visiting Dr. Otto Octavius, where he's still in lockup in the Raft prison. And it was made clear that Otto hasn't been just sitting around in prison sulking. No, he's been plotting a major plan. I've said this before in previous videos. Otto has pretty much the biggest weapon against Spider-Man. He knows his identity, and if he's somehow able to break out in the next game, which he very most likely will, then Peter's gonna be in trouble. And with the post-credit scene ending with Doc Ock saying he's writing the final chapter, I mean, come on, you can't expect him not to play a big role in this final game. Especially when he ties all the way back to the first game being the main villain and such a close bond to Peter. It's really gonna make for a very heartfelt and probably heartbreaking villain versus hero matchup once again. Winding down on this list of 4 major villains that were teased to be in a potential Marvel Spider-Man 3 is of course Carnage. If you've reached 100% completion of this game, then you'll definitely know that in the side missions of the Flame, Cletus Cassidy appeared with his cult of goons trying to wreak havoc on New York and Carnage, as he says. And Cletus Cassidy got his hands on one of the symbiotes from Oscorp, and he says with the symbiote in his hand that he's gonna create Carnage. So the symbiote known as Carnage is definitely being set up for a future project in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. Whether that comes as a DLC or a part of Marvel Spider-Man 3, we still don't know. It's definitely a possibility that it could wait until a Marvel Spider-Man 3, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the whole Carnage storyline is going to be included in a DLC rather than a Marvel Spider-Man 3, but I still included it on this list because it's still not out of the realm of possibility. Nothing's been confirmed at this moment regarding future projects, so I definitely thought it was worthwhile to include it on this list of 4. Now, the last villain that was heavily teased in Marvel Spider-Man 2 to be a villain in Marvel Spider-Man 3 is the one and only Chameleon, and this one really shocked me and surprised me and made me really happy because I love the villain of the Chameleon. The Chameleon was the very first main Spider-Man villain that he went up against in The Amazing Spider-Man #1, and I love that we finally got introduced to him and we actually saw him on screen. We did get a tease of him back in Marvel Spider-Man 2018 for the PS4, and I had a sneaking suspicion that with the whole Kraven storyline that was going on, I definitely knew he would play some type of role because he's Kraven's younger half-brother. It was super insane to be able to go into his apartment, penthouse, whatever you want to call it, and to learn that he was ultimately also being hunted by his half-brother of Kraven, that was pretty insane to see. And it's really being made out that he's going to be carrying out Kraven's mission of being the one to hunt down and kill Spider-Man. So the Chameleon appearing in Marvel Spider-Man 3 is definitely a must-have. But guys, that's going to do it for my list of the 4 villains that were teased to appear in Marvel Spider-Man 3. Are there any main antagonists or villains that you think I forgot about? And definitely let me know down below in the comments which one you're the most excited to see. If you got something out here today, make sure to leave a like on the video as it pushes it out to more and more people throughout the community. Hit that subscribe button if you're obsessed with Spider-Man, especially when it comes to Marvel Spider-Man 2, just like me. Thank you all so much for watching. See ya, chumps.
See ya, chump.